governing body decided to pass an assessment increase. So that means a couple of things for our community.
Who I do think this is going to affect, it's just some of our neighbors that do have like fixed incomes. This little bit can totally push them over the edge where like if they keep raising this 150, 90 every year, eventually my fixed income, it's called a fixed income for a reason. Is Pine Mountain Club getting too expensive?
Ooh.
Whoa. Oh, I had a thing for that, but I'm gonna skip it. We could just jump into it. So recently there was an assessment raise.
Yes.
Was there not? Yeah, I don't know if you could enlighten. You were kind of watching the YouTube channel and you watched a lot of the live stuff that happened. And you were kind of tuned into it. But go ahead and give like a quick breakdown of that situation, and I can chime in too to kind of add some color. But it's pretty big news because I believe they raised it about 2 years ago, maybe
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So just for those that don't know, Pine Mountain Club, we are an incorporated and community, which means that we have a governing body that is elected by the members.
Yep.
And the members are the ones that decide who goes on this board, who the chairman is, like who the board members are, and so on and so forth, right? So these board members have a very important role in Pine Mountain Club. And that role is to determine and pass regulations on the behalf of an entire group of people to benefit the community. And
manage the budget too.
Manage the budget. And that is one of the reasons why the assessment was actually raised. There is a YouTube channel. The one thing that's a little bit unique about it is they don't keep all of the...
They're usually unlisted, and then it seems like they might delete them after
They either delete them or they just don't...
Make them private or something.
They don't make them...
Yeah.
I don't think they make them private because even if you follow, you can't watch.
Can't find it.
So you have to almost be ready to watch, this 2 to 4 hour meeting. Either go in person, which tends to be Saturday mornings, and unfortunately, because of our schedule and the schedule of a real estate agent, most of our clients come on Saturdays. We're not able to attend them in person. Yeah. I think we've only been to 1 or 2 meetings, like since we've ever lived there in person. But we always do our due diligence and watching them as soon as they're available. So I'll try to put the link below, and if it works,
it's still up, yeah,
great. And if it doesn't, sorry. But like what I want to do is I want to make sure that people are tuning into that so that you can get the full picture and the full story behind it and not just get one information. So this governing body decided to pass an assessment increase, and this was 2 weeks ago. I believe it was 2 weeks ago.
2-3 weeks, yeah.
2-3 weeks ago. And no, 2 weeks ago for sure.
Okay.
And 3 weeks sounds pretty far. But so the assessment prior to this increase was $1,788 a year. So for those that split it up in a month, that's about $150 every month. And now the current assessment starting this year, so you're not going to pay, most people are a little confused and asking me, you're not paying this year $1,788, you're paying the new assessment.
It's already been passed.
It's already been passed and it's in effect. So everybody this year is going to, and it's due in June 1st every single year, is going to have to pay so $1,928, so $1,928. And you can split what that looks like in a month. And the one thing that I do appreciate about the association is that you can really pay for it at your convenience. So if you want to do prepayments, if you want to do monthly payments, if you want to do quarterly payments, if you want to do one lump sum, then they'll go ahead and take that. And but it is due June 1st. There are accommodations they can make for you as a member. So just make sure you connect with them, because I don't want to give you any other dates besides June 1st, because that's what we are all called to pay it at. So that means a couple of things for our community. Yeah. A lot of people are asking me, Karen, can the association really pass this? And the answer is yes.
Of course.
So I believe the max they can exceed or they can increase an assessment to is about 20%.
Before everyone gets to vote on it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think 20%
20%
would be
quite a bit.
It's quite a bit. So this was an 8% increase.
So they didn't have to.
So they did not have to. It was just one of those things in the meetings where, and everybody goes, everybody on favor, say aye, and everybody opposed.
Nobody was
say
opposed.
Nobody was opposed. So it passed. And they did give a brief description by, I believe it was the budget, someone from the budget committee came up and discussed it. Mm-hmm. Again, I just watched it like a week or so ago, so I don't remember clearly. So I'll try to link it below so you can watch it if it's still available. It's still up.
And the minutes for the finance committee is all online. So we could probably link that stuff too.
We'll probably just link that. And then the video, I mean, I think a lot of people consume differently. People are not going to go through a PDF and just but
so we can give you the TLDR, the too long didn't read.
Correct. But essentially, we have a new assessment, and the new assessment is
so I'll say this,
1928.
for, against it, irrelevant. That's not what this conversation's about, because it's happened. Objectively, it's a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are prepared to pay a little extra more this year.
Yeah.
I think where we can add some flavor and we can add some color to the conversation is, what do you predict that's going to do to the real estate market? I think that's where we can kind of add our POV. So whether you're for or against, that's a whole different kind of worms that we don't necessarily have to jump into because it's already passed.
Yeah, and there's some forums on Facebook where people are, discussing and sharing their opinion.
There's two sides of it, yeah.
And if you have concerns, the board is very much open about you writing to them.
Yep, you can go there.
And you connecting with them. So we're not here so much to discuss whether you are for it or against it. We're just here sharing and stating the fact that this was a new...
Yeah. It's new. You should know it if you're buying or if you own.
Correct.
And then second, like I said, whether you're for or against, in this podcast, we're neutral to the fact, but we are going to give our personal, professional opinion on what that we expect that to do in the market.
Correct.
That we can do without even having to take a side of it.
Yeah.
So I can jump into that. It goes two ways, and then you can add some. You can jump into. I think because we have two different parties up there, right? We have people that currently live there, and then we have people that are moving there. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't think this is going to deter somebody that's coming from, a Camarillo or a Santa Barbara or a Los Angeles County, Los Angeles. I don't think it's gonna. They're gonna be like, whatever. My HOAs in our area are like $800 a month,
300, 500,
something crazy, to have like a little gym and some spa that nobody uses. Like, they're paying a lot in those areas. So when they hear it went up $100 or 100 and some change or whatever, it's just kind of, it's like, it's a moot point. There's not that big of a deal. Who I do think this is going to affect and who I've seen kind of make their claim in like our different community forums. I think it's just some of our neighbors that do have like fixed incomes, and every year they know exactly what they're going to spend,
right? How
much they're going to spend. This little bit can totally push them over the edge. Where like PMC probably, if they're having to do this every year, who knows? Because there's, like you said, there's no cap. It's as long as it's under 20%. We don't necessarily have a say in whether it's going to get passed or not. And it's a double-edged sword, because if stuff has to get done, the reason I love PMC is because of the condition it's in. So it's a double-edged sword. I totally get it. And I can appeal to both sides. But I totally understand that for some people, like if they keep raising this 150, 90, 80 every year, eventually my fixed income, it's called a fixed income for a reason. I don't have the capability to increase it. So I think for those people that are kind of in that situation, it's going to affect them in the sense that, this may not be able to be the place that they can be at, and that sucks.
Right.
But I think for people moving in, most of them are probably going to, it's not necessarily it's going to affect them. So I don't think it's going to affect the market in the sense, like, it's not going to be this devastating crash like the Airbnb ban was. But I do think people are going to ask like good questions, like, how can this happen, or how often will this happen, Karen?
That's a pretty common question.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very practical question.
It is.
And I think I would ask that, and I asked that obviously and inquired about that when we were purchasing, and we were on realtors. So of course, we know all the information. But I think that one of the things that I will, just to kind of go back and chime a little bit on the video and on the meeting, from what I recall, again, one of the biggest things, it started off by, I think they were talking about a lot of different things. They were talking about a lot of different things and talking about different regulations. And then and different, I think they were just talking about different points. Sorry, my phone rang and then I lost my thought. But at some point, again, like I said, a budget went up, and the budget got kind of described a couple of the things that the budget was going towards.
That is pie chart, all that stuff.
Yeah, I believe so. And we didn't get to see it, of course, because the camera is at a specific angle when you're watching online. I don't know if there was a pamphlet or something passed around at the meeting, but and it might be available in the minutes online. But what I will say is they did break down where that money was going to.
Yes.
And so I think the best thing we could do is, encourage you guys to go back and read those minutes so you understand specifically where all the money is going to. Because one of the things that happened is they pass it, everybody votes on it. And then the next thing that happened was a couple of people went up and kind of had shared sentiments before they passed or did, they passed this.
Yep.
So they left an open forum available. They had someone from the budget committee go up and discuss where the breakdown was, and then people discussed it. And I think that, echoing what you said, a lot of the people that communicated their biggest concern about this is individuals that already live and have property in Pine Mountain Club, a lot of retirees, a lot of people who are in a very fixed income, a lot of individuals who are just not in a position to get another job. You got to remember too, Pine Mountain Club. So if
not a lot of employment either.
There's very limited opportunities of employment. You either could work in some of our local restaurants.
Maybe for the clubhouse or the water company. Yeah. Or
the water company, the clubhouse, has limited opportunities, and or you're commuting every day. And if you're if you're retired, or if you have limitations with your health, or 100, it's actually 140. So the assessment went up exactly $140. And so if it were to continue to be increased every year, and again, for some people, for some buyers, this is not a big deal breaker, but it may be a big deal breaker for some of the current owners and people that live here. So I do feel like that is going to impact our community. That potentially may impact the potential sellers, put people in situations where they have to sell.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying $150.
Right.
Isn't a lot of money. For some people, it's a lot of money. And we cannot discredit that, and we cannot minimize that. So I feel like those are the two perspectives.
Totally. And I think the fear, the 150, it sucks, right? That number could have been anything. It could have been $20. I think the big fear is what's the cap. And when you read the CCNRs, I think that's where people get concerned. Even me as a realtor and a homeowner there, that's where I get concerned.
Right, because 20% would have been closer to $400.
Yeah, and they could have did 19.8% increase and not have to get a vote on it.
Yeah.
So that's always something to I think about and be mindful of as a homeowner up there and somebody prospectively looking to purchase up there. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. That's why when you're driving up the mountain, once you pull into PMC, you know it. Like the signs look all cute, and there's a beautiful little welcome sign, "Welcome to PMC," that that was constructed recently, and
I believe that was done also by the commercial build.
It's commercial, but I think people like to contribute to the community out there,
of course,
because it is a nice kind of hidden gem, and it's a nice gem because all of us owners are willing to back that, and everything's gotten more expensive. I mean, eggs, everything. So it makes sense.
I mean, we went to have lunch today and we couldn't believe it because it was just a sandwich.
Yeah, I went to the Subway and we're so used to like $5 foot. This was $30 foot long. How did we spend so much? We had two sandwiches.
Yeah, it was little sandwich, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So I think going back to our biggest, you probably saw the title in this video and you probably thought, is Pine Mountain Glen more expensive? I mean, $140 is more.
Yeah, it is more.
The properties are going to appreciate. The market is a little unique. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But I think that we just kind of wanted to share that with everybody, especially if you haven't been reading or you aren't subscribed to the PMC, POA, and newsletters. If you don't get our newsletters, like if you don't, if you're just not as involved or you just have been busy with life and haven't tuned in, the assessment did go up. So you have to account for that. 8%, $140 more you have to account for and bring to the table.
So I think if you're an owner, you're planning to own, I think the moral of this segment is know when those meetings are happening and figure out a way to be able to watch it.
Correct.
Because I feel like there may be some people here watching that didn't even know that happened. Because I've communicated with some people that they're like, obviously everybody knows that. But I have talked to people where they're like, that happened? It's like, yeah, it totally happened. So it's interesting that you haven't heard that it's happened. But know that the prices have gone up. The assessment has gone up. They did disclose that they may have to go up again in the future to catch up to the. I believe in the pandemic, they halted a lot of the spending and the raising.
They did communicate that back in 2020. I think I recall a meeting or something where the association could very much. They communicated that they wanted to do an increase in 2020, but due to the circumstances and due to COVID,
kind of held back.
They held back, giving everybody notice, letting them know, hey, we're not doing it now due to the circumstances, but expect that. Yeah. So it's been 2 years since the last assessment. I think the last assessment was 2021.
Yeah.
And it went from 1624 to 1788. So 1788. So 1788 minus 1624. It went up 164.
So it's a little more now.
And then from 1788 to 1928, like I said, that's 140. So, it's a little less than the last assessment. I mean, the last increase, but again, it's just a little bit of a raise. I think for us, we're definitely in a position where we could move forward in pocket, give that. But I know not everybody's in that circumstance. And we just have to be aware of that and support our local businesses. Support if you're needing a local vendor, I'm happy to connect you to the people that have supported us. So we just want to help our neighbors and we want to give back to the local community because it's important. So make sure you're using a local realtor. We're local realtors. We, contribute so much to the community. We love stopping by the little shops and giving back to our friends and our neighbors because we are what make Pine Mountain Club. So just keep that in mind. Remember,
keep that in mind.
June 1st is the deadline.
1st.
We're going to put it right here. We're going to link everything we can down below in the description. And hopefully you can just stay consistent with the meetings and watch them to be informed and feel good about what's happening.
Yep.
Hey, if you guys like that video, go ahead and watch the full podcast right here. And if you want to watch our channel's newest video, you can watch that right here. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you in the next.